The skeletal and muscular system.
The skeletal system. The skeletal system includes all the bones and joints in the body. Each bone is a complex living organ that is made up of many cells, protein fibers, and minerals. The skeleton acts as a scaffold by providing support and protection for the soft tissues that make up the rest of the body. The skeletal system also provides attachment points for muscle to allow movements at the joints. New blood cells are produced by the red bone marrow inside of our bones. Bones act as the body's warehouse for calcium, iron, and energy in the form of fat. Finally, the skeleton grows throughout childhood and provides a framework for the rest of the body to grow along with it.
Here's a diagram, including everything you wanted to be on the rubric. Alright, there are 5 main types of bones. The long bones provide strength, structure, and mobility. Long bones are bones defined as having a body that is longer than it is wide. They have growth plates at either end, an outer surface of compact bone, inner surface of cancellous tissue which is spongy and contains marrow. Both ends are covered in hyaline cartilage to aid shock absorption. The femur is considered a long bone, and the phalanges are also long bones, even though they are relatively small. Short bones are bones that provide stability with little movement. Bones that are nearly cubic in shape. They're mostly cancellous tissue enclosed in a thin layer of compact bone. They have large amounts of marrow, relatively. And the carpals and tarsals are examples. So you see the tarsals right here. That is a long bone. You can see how it's almost a cube right there. Irregular bones are bones that don't fit into any real category. There's no definition beyond that. Their shape is weird, and because none of them look like each other, they don't really have any uniform characteristics except that they tend to have mostly cancellous bone, and the vertebrae is an example of an irregular bone. Sesamoid bones are bones that are usually short or irregular, embedded in a tendon. They serve to protect the tendon and often pass over a joint. So here's one right there, passing over a joint. Flat bones provide protection of the vital organs. Their characteristics are they're flat, and the front and back of them are made of hard, compact bone with less cancellous tissue than most bones, and varying amounts of marrow depending on which bone it is. And that's the scapula. That's an example of a flat bone.
The joints. There are 3 most common known types of joints. The hinge joint is formed between 2 or more bones where the bones can only move along one axis to flex or extend. The simplest hinge joints in the body are interphalangeal joints found between the phalanges of the fingers and toes. In these hinge joints, the bones are able to flex to decrease the angles between them, like when making a fist or curling the toes. Elbows, ankles, and knees are other examples of hinge joints. The gliding joint, also known as a plane joint or pivot joint, is a common type of synovial joint formed between bones that meet at flat or nearly flat articular surfaces. Gliding joints allow the bones to glide past one another in any direction along the plane of the joint, up and down, left and right, and diagonally. Many gliding joints are formed in the appendicular skeleton between the carpal bones of the wrist, between the carpal and the metacarpals of the palm, between the tarsal bones of the ankle, and between the tarsal and the metatarsals of the foot. Gliding joints are also formed in the axial skeleton throughout the neck and trunk to improve the flexibility of these regions. Ball and socket joints are a special class of synovial joints that enjoy the highest freedom of motion in the body thanks to their unique structure. The shoulders and hip joints are the only ball and socket joints in the human body due to the need for great motion at the end of the body's limbs and the vast amount of musculature needed to move and support such flexible joints. How the skeletal system works with 3 other systems. The skeletal system works with the muscular system by giving support to the body, and the skeletal muscles move the bones, and the tendons connect the muscles to the bones. The digestive system. The skeletal system protects the mouth, esophagus, stomach, liver, pancreas, and gallbladder, and provides nutrients for bone growth and repair. The circulatory system. protects the heart. Bone marrow produces red blood cells, moves oxygen and glucose around the body so cells can do work, and moves waste so they can be disposed by the body.
Right, these are diseases that affect the bones. Fibrous dysplasia is characterized by immense bone swelling as bone tissue is replaced with fibrous bone tissue, and the tissue looks like Chinese characters almost. And here's an example of someone on the left, obviously, is a regular hand, and on the right is someone with fibrous dysplasia. And then Paget's disease is a chronic disorder that can result in enlarged and misshapen bones. Paget is caused by the excessive breakdown and formation of bone, followed by disorganized bone remodeling. This causes affected bone to weaken, resulting in pain, misshapen bones, fractures, and arthritis in the joints near the affected bones. Osteoporosis, a condition in which bones become weak and brittle, and risk factors for osteoporosis include aging, being a woman, low body weight, low sex hormones, menopause, smoking, and some medications. Here's an example of Paget's disease, and then here's an example of osteoporosis, even though you can't see it. We do have the picture.
Sharks. The skeleton of the shark has evolved and adapted to suit and aid the habit, migration, hunting habits, and diet of these acclaimed carnivores. Unlike terrestrial animals, humans, and even other marine animals, shark skeletons are made purely of cartilage and connective tissue, or muscle. There is no bone. This type of skeleton means that the shark is lighter, as cartilage is about half the density of bone. This is important because, unlike other fish, the shark has no swim bladder to prevent it from sinking to the bottom of the ocean.
Fun facts! Alright, the only bone not connected to another is the hyoid bone at the base of the tongue. And scientists disagree whether or not the patella is a short bone.
Each hand has 27 bones and each foot has 26, which means that together, the body's 2 hands and 2 feet have 106 bones. That is, the hands and feet contain more than half of the bones in your entire body. Bones are strong and rigid and built to withstand a lot of force. Pound for pound, they are stronger than steel.
And we have some cool memes for you. You see this one? Here's one, skeletons. That says the average human body contains enough bones to make up one human skeleton. This one says, teachers be like, I'm just gonna wait till it's quiet. This one is my personal favorite.
Because you made it.
Alright, that's the end of our half. Now to the muscular system.
The muscular system. The main functions of the muscular system are for movement, maintenance, movement of inner substances, and generation of body heat. These functions allow us to complete everyday tasks and live our lives. There are 3 different types of muscles.
Smooth muscle functions skeletal muscles, which make up about 40% of a person's weight. Nervous system signals the muscle to contract. A group of muscles work together to move the skeleton. These signals and movement are nearly involuntary, yet they do not require conscious effort. It is attached to the skeleton. Most are attached at 2 bones across the joint. Thus, a muscle serves to move parts of the bones closer together. Smooth muscles makes organs contract to move substances through organs. Involuntary muscle control by unconscious mind. They're called smooth muscle because of the smooth appearance given under the microscope. They can be found in organs like the stomach, intestines, and blood vessels.
The muscles such as biceps.
The cardiac muscle. It functions by pumping blood throughout the body. It is an involuntary muscle. For the most part, it stimulates itself to contract, and they are striated. Branch X or Y shaped cells connected by intercalated discs. They're finger-like projections from 2 neighboring cells that interlock and provide a strong bond between the cells. Due to the branched nature and intercalated cells, the muscle is able to resist high blood pressure and strains from pumping blood, and electrochemical signals are sent quickly from cell to cell to allow the heart to beat as one.
Day life by allowing us to raise and lift our arms and also by lowering our arms. Muscles work in pairs in all parts of the body. A key example are biceps and triceps. With biceps and triceps, our arms are able to lift up and lower our arms. Here's a key example. While working out, we lift our arms to move the weight towards us and then stretch our arms out to move them away from us.
Good form, good form.
Agonist versus antagonist. The bicep is the primary muscle that initiates the major movements of muscles by performing shortening contractions, while the antagonist is the triceps and secondary muscle that contributes to the motion through lengthening our contractions, also known as stretching. The ligaments are limited in a range of motion and have an elastic crosshatch pattern, forming sheets of tissue that ensure that bones cannot move past their normal range of motion. Similar to the tendon in the hierarchical structure, collagen fibrils are slightly less in volume, fraction, and organization than tendons. Higher percentage of protoglycan matrix than tendon, and fibrillars more ground substance and elastin random. The tendon is sensitive to compression and does respond well to tensile stress. However, it is not elastic. They contain collagen fibrils type 1, a protoglycan matrix, and fibroblasts, biological cells, that are arranged in parallel rows and densely packed with collagen fibers, tendon that attach to the muscles and to bone and part of the fascia, more collagen, tightly packed longitudinally. They're running through collagen fibers. Functions. Ligaments function by connecting bone to bone and hold structures together to keep them stable. They create stability in joints and support internal organs, determine how much joints can move, protect the bones that form each joint as to absorb shock, and help to direct bone movement and prevent excessive or undesirable motion. The tendons connect bone to muscle, move bones to transmit force. This acts in a way to carry compressive forces when wrapped around the bone like a pulley, and they withstand tensile forces while retaining flexibility. Comparisons to other animals. The human muscular system is similar to that of dogs, horses, and cats. With humans and dogs, they both share the deltoid, tricep, and trapezius muscle. The deltoid muscle is the uppermost part of the arm and the top of the shoulder, and is attached by the tendons to the skeleton at the clavicle, scapula, and humerus. The triceps are muscles of the back of the arm and the only muscle on the back of the upper arm, and connects to the humerus and the scapula and to the ulna. It is also the primary extensor of the elbow. The trapezius is the major muscles of the back, responsible for moving, rotating, and stabilizing the scapula and extending the head of the neck, and covers most of the upper back and the posterior of the neck. The two trapezius muscles, left and right, are symmetrical and meet at the vertebral column. Cats and humans share their oblique abdominal muscular system.